Hello friends, welcome to It's a Ootsy Thing and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm making bread. We are getting ready to go on vacation. We're going to be gone for about 3 weeks, and so I need to have things to take with us because we're going in our RV that I can have while we're gone, that I would normally have as staples here around the house. So I'm making some bread. I'm going to make 2 loaves. Now, if you've watched me for any length of time, you know that I try a new bread recipe often because I like to try new bread recipes. So here is a new one that I'm trying. It's got a little bit of a twist, but it sounded interesting to me. It's honey wheat bread. And and just so you know, some of you have asked me to use more recipes out of this cookbook that has no cover because it's 43 years old. I got it as a wedding gift from my grandma who has passed on. It's one of those local community cookbooks. This is from the Young Women's Study Club out of Leedy, Oklahoma. And let's see here. I thought that I saw one time what year. 81 is when it was made, and that's the year that we were married. So I got it new, but I have wore it plumb out. The cover's off of it. This is the back of it. Many of the pages have food splatters all over them, but boy, this is a great cookbook. Let me show you. Here's one of them. Look, it's a mess. But when you see a cookbook like this, you know that it's good. So, as I was trying to decide what bread to make today, I came across this honey wheat bread. So the first thing that we're going to do in our bowl here is add 4 cups of wheat flour, and I'm just going to put this in my bowl that I'm going to put in my mixer. This is my mixing bowl. Then we're going to add, and here is the difference. And I'll have the recipe at the end so you don't have to worry about writing all of this down. It's a 1/2 cup of dried buttermilk. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that's going to enhance the flavor. It may be a total flop. Who knows? Then we are going to add our salt to this, and then our yeast. And I'm just going to take a spoon and stir all of that together just to make sure it's well incorporated. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it on my mixer here. I've got my dough hook on. Now then, we're going to start with some wet ingredients. This is also a little bit different than what I am used to. I'm going to heat 3 cups of water. Some honey. And some olive oil. I'm going to heat this to 120 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the camera because you all know what it looks like for water to boil. And watching water boil is kind of like watching paint dry. So I'll stop the camera, let this heat to 120, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, our water reached 120 degrees. Now I'm just going to add it to that wheat flour that I've already placed in my mixing bowl. And I'm going to start my mixer. As it thickens, I'm going to add my bread flour. And I've got 4 cups of bread flour that I'm adding. I can smell that honey in there. So that bread hook is not touching all the way down to the bottom of my bowl. So I am taking a wooden spoon and kind of stirring that up a little bit so that there won't be any dry ingredients left down in the center. If you've ever used your dough hook, you can find sometimes that if you don't get it all stirred up real good, well, there's some dry ingredients left down on the bottom. So I will just stir that around and get all of that dry ingredients stirred up. Now I don't do my speed on very high. I keep it on around 2 when I'm doing bread. All right, I think I've got all of that stirred up pretty good. So I'm going to start adding my bread flour. Just a cup at a time. Bread making is not something you do fast. But one nice thing about it, when you do make your own bread, you can control the ingredients that go in, and you don't have a lot of these chemicals and extra preservatives that you see in the store-bought bread. And it's a much healthier bread for you. Back in the early 80s when this cookbook was written, in this recipe book you don't see where they tell you to use your electric mixer. Everything was done by hand back then. So if you wanted to do it by hand, you can, and that's what this recipe is telling you to do, by hand. But I'm using my electric mixer and it's going to be just fine. I'm just about to get all of the flour mixed in there. I need one of those shields so that it doesn't flop the flour out all over the place. And I'm going to let this stir and knead for about 5 minutes. So I'm going to transfer this to another bowl. I'm going to spray it down with some olive oil so that it doesn't stick. And the reason I'm doing that, you wouldn't have to, but the reason I'm doing that is because I also churn my own butter using whipping cream, and I'm almost out of butter. So I'm going to transfer the bread dough into this so that it can raise in this, and then I'm going to get started on my butter. Okay, this has been kneading for approximately 7 minutes. Whoops. So I'm going to go ahead and scrape it off of the hook and put it in this other bowl. it transferred to my other bowl. As you can see here, I'm going to cover it with a tea towel, and it needs to raise for about an hour. So you need to put it in a warm spot. And so what I do is I just turn the light on my oven, and I'll just set it in there and let it raise. Well, you've seen me making my butter. Now I'm back to my bread. I got it out of the oven, and I'm going to just punch this down and get the air out of it. I'm going to sprinkle some flour out on my countertop. And then I'm just going to scrape this out, and I'm going to knead it a little bit more by hand. One of my most favorite parts of bread making is kneading by hand. But before I do that, I'm going to cut it in half and do one at a time. I'm going to do one loaf in a loaf pan and the other one in my Dutch oven. Okay, now both of these are going to go back in the oven with just the light on. I'm going to cover them again with a towel, and they're going to raise again for about an hour. My bread has been raising for just a little over an hour, and it is ready to bake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the towel off of the bread. Doesn't that look yummy? Well, you can't see it. I'll let you look at it. Now you can see it. It looks delicious. So I'm going to turn my oven on 375 and let it bake for approximately 45 minutes. Okay, the bread is done, and I'm ready to take it out of the oven. I wish you all could smell this. It smells so wonderful. Now, some of that butter that I made, I'm going to kind of smear it over my bread. It's dripping down and making a mess. So don't do that. Okay, I'm going to let this cool off before I take it out of my pans. Okay, my bread has cooled off, and I want to taste it. I want to see what this buttermilk powder did. Even though I've made this for vacation and I'm going to put it in the freezer, I still have to give it a taste. I'm going to put a little bit of butter on it. And the other day I had a couple of apples that I needed to either use or eat them. And they were starting to get just a tiny bit soft, not bad. And I thought, I'll just make some apple butter. So, I have just a little bit of apple butter here. But before I do that, I want to taste it before I put any flavoring on it. It's good. I actually like the flavor of this better than my regular bread recipe that I use. Maybe it's just a little bit sweeter, but it really has a good flavor. Oh, and that apple butter is delicious. It's wonderful. So thank you all for joining me in my kitchen today. I hope you've enjoyed watching me make bread. There's all kinds of recipes, and I'll be trying more. So we'll see you next time, and I'll be showing you some more things that I'm making for our vacation. Have a great evening.